Okay, so what are some of the explanations that you came up with?
The clouds covered it.
The clouds covered it?
I said no. The way it rotates around the Earth.
Because sometimes only some of it lights up.
The placement of the sun.
The placement of the
Like
sun?
it reflects off the moon and like the dark side.
Okay, what was yours?
Because sometimes only some of it lights up.
Only some of it lights up?
The moon lights up?
No.
Then why would
I don't know.
the sun shines
Okay,
on
so
it?
here are some possible explanations that we came up with. The clouds block what we see, and the Earth's shadow. No one said it in this class, but it is thought that the Earth's shadow falls on the moon, and that's why we only see partial portions of the moon. So we can rule out the first explanation because the cycle of the moon is always is constantly reoccurring. The clouds are not that predictable and do not produce, or they're not constant, so they can't produce this predictable cycle. Does that make sense? So sometimes we'll have a really cloudy night and sometimes we'll have a clear night. But yet those are reoccurring, so this cycle can't happen. We can rule out the second explanation because the Earth's shadow only falls on the moon very rarely. This happens when a lunar eclipse occurs. So that's when the sun, the earth, and the moon are in a parallel or a straight line. So that's when the shadow of the earth falls on the moon, and this is what the moon will look like. So the real explanation happens is that the shape of the moon never changes. What changes is the portion of the moon that we see. The side of the moon that is illuminated, and illuminated means lit up, is the side that's facing the sun. So as the moon orbits around the earth, the side pointed to the sun changes. So whenever we have, this would be our sun. So whenever this rotates around the sun, do you see how the shape of the moon is changing?
Yeah.
So do you see? What's your question?
If we only have one moon, then why does everyone get to see it?
Because of the way the Earth rotates. So here's the 8 different sides. So whenever we have a waning moon, it's going to be decreasing in size. Whenever we have a waxing moon, it's going to be increasing in size. So we go from, like if we start at the new moon, it's going to be increasing in size, so we'll see more of the moon. So it's going to be increasing. When it's going to be less than half, it's going to be a crescent moon. When it's going to be more than half, it's going to be gibbous. So here's just a few vocabulary words. What's your question?
If we have a new moon, where do we get our light from?
Does the moon light up?
No.
No. All light comes from the sun. So it doesn't matter what?
Even at night?
Yeah, the sun reflects off the moon.
That's the whole reason you see. Good job, Manga. That's the whole reason you see the moon. The moon. Remember, we talked about stars and planets and moons yesterday. Where does all of our light and heat come from?
The sun.
The sun, right? So why can we see things?
Because of the sun.
So what's happening with that light from the sun? It's traveling here, and it's reflecting off the moon, right? And it's reflecting off of the people around you. So we see stuff because the light is reflected.
So if you're standing right here on Earth, and the sunlight is coming this direction, which part of the moon do you see?
The part that it's not...
Wait, where's...
So you're standing right here.
You ain't gonna see no moon.
You're not going to see a moon because all of what's being lit up is on this side. So what if you're standing on this part of the moon or of the Earth?
We see half of the moon.
You could too.
So it's coming in, and it's only lighting up this portion. So you see half of the moon. Is it increasing or decreasing in size?
It's decreasing. So
It's actually increasing because if you go from seeing nothing, so increasing. So then, is it more than half or less than half?
It's less than half. So it's a crescent?
It's what type? No, it's a crescent, but it's a waxing crescent because it's increasing in size. Or we can see the sun very faintly during this phase because why can we still see it sometimes?
Because it's a new moon.
New moon.
Oh, you can't see it at all.
Yeah, but sometimes we can still faintly see it. How come that's so?
Because it's still there, but...
That's right, because the sun or the moon is still there. It doesn't just disappear. It's still there, and so the sunlight is being reflected back to it. But it's going to be very faint, so we hardly see it.